JoeConklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
800-354-2040. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
You know your numbers. What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
The breaking news of this morning is the mass evacuations underway right now. We've never, in my lifetime, I don't remember these types of fires in Los Angeles like this. And I know it's not the season for these wildfires. We hear about the Santa Ana winds, but 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts, the flames burning out of control, thousands of acres, more than 80,000 people already evacuated and going viral. I know at least one story with two men trapped inside a home with their dog, comforting the dog. So thank God, as of this moment, during this massive fire, 4 different fires burning, but as well, we don't hear, thank God, of injuries for those firefighters, because this is dangerous for firefighters, obviously, as well as residents. So they're ordering, I guess, another 30,000 in these mandatory evacuations, but the number I had was closer to 80,000 have already evacuated. And keep in mind, they have to shut everything down. So they're shutting off gas, shutting off power. And so you have hundreds of thousands of Californians who are right now without power, without a home, and the flames are just devouring acres by the thousands. It's a real tragedy here. We'll look for, as we move forward during this major breaking news story, whether or not we have fire crews or expert specialists from our neck of the woods, from this area, headed to California to help. But it's a dire situation, as firefighters are saying. They're running out of water. And one of my immediate questions is do they have the apparatus to scoop up ocean water? Can they do that? Because they're right on the ocean, right? And so can they do that? Can they scoop up the water there and then transport it and do those huge water drops? But I imagine you have the best efforts. Gavin Newsom, the governor there, is standing there with his hands in his pockets and declaring a state of emergency in California, the federal funds being freed up. We'll get to all of that today. I want to return to the latest on Donald J. Trump. We carried a big chunk of that his first live news conference since the certification vote that happened Monday. And then yesterday from Mar-a-Lago. This was not a situation where he's just shooting the breeze. This is the president-elect who, during a live news conference where there's no teleprompter, and what did he talk about? What was the theme? The theme was, this is not somebody who's riffing or pontificating, bloviating. Those are some of the things we've heard the media say. Not true. That's a lie. The truth is, Trump was returning to his roots, serving the people of the country, putting the United States of America, you American patriots, me, all of us, our families first. That's what this was. And it reminds me of when you've ever flown with your children, when your kids were little. What do they say? What does the flight attendant say when you're in the airplane? In the event of an emergency, what do you do with the oxygen mask? You put it on your face first so you can breathe. And then you reach over and you help those around you, especially if you have young children. And that's really the attitude, in my humble opinion, as to what Donald J. Trump is doing. He's saying, hey, America, and not for nothing, but we pay for this, right? Our hard-earned tax dollars. But he's saying, hey, America, we're going to put the oxygen mask on you, on America, and prioritize your safety, your security first. And then, yes, we'll do what we've always done, help everybody else too. But it's the art of the deal. I want to get to some of the audio with him. And if we have the reporter questions, because I was like, I get so aggravated with the questions and how they ask the questions, bias by omission, that sort of thing. But we want to go through this because he touched on so many areas and want to hear your thoughts. 855-839-1210. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. Did I say my name? Did I say executive producer Dan Borowski?
A lot going on today, Dawn. How you
the
doing?
Best.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Kelly,
no,
our engineer. By the way, if you missed that Congressman Ryan McKenzie interview, just one of my favorite moments during the Dawn show. We're kind of a teenager. We're relatively new in this time slot, or I am at least. Not WPHT, not you. But one of my favorite moments ever was this tender moment where, Dan Borowski is talking about, he and his wife, Maisie, and how, they've been sweethearts forever since I've known you. You talked about Maisie and loves Maisie.
Yeah.
And how you guys put off getting married. I mean, it's like I get all filled up. I do, because at the time you guys were so young and so in love.
Well, we still are.
And you still are. They still are. I'm amazing if you're listening. He adores you. And I mean, it's really neat to see that. But you were so off on this day where we celebrate Elvis. And
you know what? Let me get some
90th.
Elvis going. Yeah, let me get some, Can't Help Falling in Love.
This is
bad company. I put
this
it
is
to wrong way there. Here you go. Yeah, it works for us. Sure. Yeah. But the thing is, what we were talking about with Ryan McKenzie, and
it was a great moment with you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
One of my favorite ever.
I appreciate that. But it's something I want to continue the chat on, whether it's today or in the near future, and it's readdressing and recapturing the young vote, and how do we appeal to young people. And yesterday I wanted to highlight the fact that Ryan, being a young guy, really has a good grasp on how Republicans and conservatives, how we can win moving forward in elections and capture the attention of young people. And I was almost testing him to a degree because I didn't know his actual thoughts on student loan forgiveness and such. But the instantaneous kind of shift to the responsibility of universities and the complete lack of accountability in Washington for these large universities as we try to trash students for taking out these loans. And you know what? Some students are dumb for taking out some of these huge loans, and it shouldn't be forgiven. People have dumb mortgages. Should those be forgiven? There are other dumb loans that maybe should be forgiven. But you know what? That's not fair if we just do student loans. But we as Republicans, conservatives, can't ignore the fact that young people are having a hell of a time trying to get on their feet. And Dawn's alluding to me and Maisie. Me and Maisie really had that struggle.
Maisie and I.
Sorry. Maisie and I really had that struggle. And we're still having that struggle. It took us a while to buy a house. Now we finally got a house. It's a townhouse. It's not a standalone house. We just covered yesterday, Dom did a segment, J.D. Mullane put out a piece that Levittown, PA, which is the standard for middle class, you can't buy a house for under $400,000, $500,000 now.
It's crazy.
So you combine that with student loan debt, how the heck do you expect the younger generation to actually have a life where they can enjoy themselves and raise children? So you know what? Us conservatives, we should grasp that and offer realistic solutions, similarly to how we did in social issues this past elections, and I think we could further get ourselves ahead.
It's the American dream. And that's why by the way, this song, I can now listen to this song. I shouldn't say this, but So one of my son's girlfriend broke his heart, but one day they were up in his room with the door open, and they were slow dancing to this song.
That's really cute.
And I was like, oh my God.
That's really cute.
So then they broke up. And so now I hear this song and I think of that. I can hear, but like a year ago, I would have been crying hearing this song. Linda Kearns, by the way, huge Elvis fan and huge election integrity Trump and Republican attorney. So a great woman, conservative woman who I just adore. She'll be here in the 11 o'clock hour. But if you missed that, Congressman Ryan McKenzie from Pennsylvania, wife, 9-month-old baby. Now, he's at a place where, I know that he's in his early 40s. So he alluded to the fact, and maybe he and his wife, because they just had their first baby, they put things off. Much like you and Maisie have put things off. Obviously, they're older than you and Maisie, but I'm just saying that many, many young couples putting things off, putting love off, putting family off, and doing it the proper way, planning. So it was a great interview if you missed it yesterday. Let's get to Trump, shall we? Because there was so much yesterday, and I want to get your take, 855-839-1210, the number to call. So let's tee this up and do a little bit. We'll take a break, and then we'll do more Trump. And by the way, Trump, his attorneys going to the Supreme Court of the United States of America, that happening just this morning within the past hour or so, because they're not going to, as I talked about yesterday, they're appealing this Juan Merchan, push because the Democrats, they just want to sentence Trump, even. So let's listen to Trump.
All hell will break out. If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S.
So sorry for the abrupt nature of that, Don. But I want to start with the Israel because I think that's probably the biggest example, and we talked about this before the show, of Trump's differing nature against Biden's foreign policy and how he handled Israel.
Yeah, and so if you were watching the news conference, so he's being asked questions by all different reporters. He takes all the questions, which many of them are loaded with bias. And this one guy, and we'll get into it, really, but I just wanted to headline how this happened. So the one guy's asking about Syria and so on. Trump is taking, and then he sees his Middle East envoy, who he believes is like the very best negotiator in the Middle East. And this is Steve Witkoff. So he sees his son Eric in the back of the room. He spots him, and then he goes, "Oh, that's Steve." And he's trying to talk about the hostages. And you have this annoying reporter who's, "Well, it was my turn. It's like, just shut it."
I think I have that clip.
Like, I want to be the referee in the room to go, yo, dumb A, shut it. He will get to you.
Take a listen.
He didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened, Iran was weakened, and he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names, and they went in and they took over, and that's the way it is.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Do you have concerns about HTS taking control of
By the way, I
Syria?
have the envoy here. Is that in the back?
Steve.
Standing with my son, Eric, is Steve Witkoff, who's just got back from the Middle East, and he's done a
So
fantastic
this is
job.
breaking news.
He's a great deal maker.
And so the guy is, because it's all about me, and I'm a reporter,
I do have more
and I
if you
look
want
good,
it.
and I have my pancake makeup on.
Yeah, it's
And
ridiculous.
Mr. President, it's like, and Trump finally just is like, dude, because Trump is trying to, and see, Trump is smart, unlike other Hillary and other who start screeching, and he knows he has a microphone. He knows the mic is up. And so Trump is speaking and talking about what is a breaking news story. And Ding Ding, I'll just call him Ding Ding. I don't care what network he's, but he just keeps on, and finally the president said, do you have this part?
What we need there is a deal maker, because nobody makes a deal. We have people that understand where the rivers are and where the meets and bounds are, but they can't talk. They can't make deals. Steve's done a great job. I just want to thank you, Steve. You've been working endlessly for months, and he's working specifically on the hostages, trying to get them back.
Well, that was my second question. Is Hamas...
Steve, come up for a second. Maybe you might want to say a couple of words.
Sir,
I didn't.
Sir.
another hostage.
I didn't
have
know
a
Steve was
chance,
gonna be here,
dude.
actually.
Neither did I.
He's done a fantastic job, and it's a dangerous job, too, and we appreciate it. He didn't know about this kind of danger and the other deal-making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve.
Mr. President, can I ask you the second part of that?
Wait,
Hamas
me.
Just one
released a
second,
hostage
please.
video.
I'm going to give you a little report on the hostages, if I can. Steve? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
And so think about this guy, though, has no sense of news. This is breaking news. This is the president-elect. And by the way, the first news conference, and he goes on for over an hour, and he's breaking a ton of news. And this idiot doesn't think about the news value, doesn't think about the fact that there are American citizens and people around the world, presumably, right, who care about the fact that you have hostages for over a year down in a cave somewhere, starving, and this is breaking news about that. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's all about me, and I'm a pretty reporter with a pretty face. Getting back, and I had a second way. It's like, I just wanted to slap that guy. It was so annoying. Steve Witkoff comes up, and then he proceeds, and we'll get into it around the break because I don't want to go too long. But the bottom line here is that this was a breaking news story, and now Witkoff back to Qatar. He is making ground on this. And the fact that Trump repeatedly, multiple times, and even later on the news conference, of course, the lib media, they're not going to pick up on it. This is huge. I have zero question that these hostages are coming home. And I will tell you why this is one of the many reasons that Trump declared victory and won so bigly, hugely, as we tease, we say how the president says it, but this is huge. And for the media, just they're in their bubble. They are ignorant, obtuse, whatever you want to say. They don't even know a breaking news story when they see it. And we're talking about a dangerous, potentially deadly situation, minute by minute, with hostages somewhere down in a cave who've managed to survive, praying to God that they will be rescued and come home, as well as their loved ones here. Yes, Jan?
We got a break.
We got a break. Sorry.
Yeah, I apologize.
He's like talking. He's like, Dawn. He's blowing the whistle at me.
Well,
All
I
right.
have two options for the whistle. You want to hear them?
Mm-hmm.
First one. Second one. I think the first one.
Definitely number one. But your thoughts on Trump? We'll get to this awesome news conference. We'll go through all of it. 855-839-1210. Thanks for being here. There's another good little whistle.
The election is over and a new pro-business administration's about to begin. At Swish Funding, we're ready to help America's small businesses thrive in 25. Whether it's for cash flow, expansion, or new equipment, Swish Funding has flexible funding options from $25,000 up to $2 million. You could get a decision in minutes and cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. With rates as low as 8%. To qualify, be in business at least 1 year with monthly revenue of at least $50,000. Apply today at swishfunding.com. SWISH funding.com. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hey guys, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. If you're planning on betting the NFL playoffs, buckle up. Betting football's hard enough as it is. We're doing the research for you. So listen to Cash the Ticket with Mike Valeni and I. We'll be dropping new episodes for every single playoff game. and that's going to be storylines leading into it, so some good football stuff, but also the betting nuggets you're looking for. Sides, totals, trends, player props, throw those in there too. Pre-game and post-game, we're going to be all over the postseason. Subscribe to Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Harry, if you watch any more of those stupid financial shows, I'm filing for divorce.
How am I going to keep up with our retirement accounts?
At JML Financial Group, we want you watching your grandkids playing soccer and sunsets in Hawaii, not the latest rumor of a market crash. Surprisingly, with proper income planning, the stock market shouldn't even be a concern. The money came in every 2 weeks while you worked. It should be the same in your retirement years. Let us show you how. Call JML Financial Group today at 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. So, when your neighbor's sunbathing in the front yard,
Harry, you're an idiot. Get away from the window.
keep your eyes focused where they should be, on enjoying your retirement. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
From your kitchen table to our airwaves, the Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Today on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. And we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to be drilling in a lot of other locations, and the energy costs are going to come way down. They'll be brought down to a very low level, and that's going to bring everything else down. That's what caused it to go up, along with the ridiculous spending on the Green New scam. All this money, trillions of dollars. It's like throwing it right out the window, what they're doing. And they're trying to spend so much now. They're just taking money and giving it to anybody that wants it for any project at all, if it's certified under the Green New scam. And they don't work, and it's too expensive. And, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth because...
So you think about Trump, because everything in our society, when you think about energy costs, and this is what it's crazy when they release any economic numbers, but they leave out energy prices, because the deal is, if you lower the cost, like he's saying, drill, baby, drill, so you lower the cost of energy, what does that mean? That means that you have the fuel to get where you need to go and where goods need to go. Goods and services require what? The fuel, right? The energy that fuels everything in our society. That's the basis. It's so basic, and that's what he's talking about. And I think you, me, we understand this. By the way, PECO, they just raised their rates, by the way, 10%. All of us in Pennsylvania, we're paying some 45% more than everybody else in the nation. So you think about, the cost of just heating your home right now, cooling your home in the summer, etc. But that's what he's talking about. And so when we think about inflation, the rate at which prices for goods and services, it's increasing over time by the Biden administration just printing that money. It's really a form of taxation. It's another tax, if you will, that they've created by their ridiculous spending. And so that's what Trump is talking about by creating lower energy prices. That's one of the many ways, but the most essential way that we're just going to lower the prices. Let's take, we talked about the American dream, home buying, and home values just skyrocketing. This is Mark in Yardley in Bucks County. Hey, Mark. And are you a realtor? Or are you a broker? Hey, Mark.
Mark. Hello, Mark.
Mark.
Mark 1 2.
Maybe Mark, I don't know, Mark ran to wherever. He's running an errand or something. Maybe he's fueling up. He's at the gas station. But I think he was going to say that it's not just, what is he going to say? Not interest rates, but he was talking about where people moved.
Yep. Yeah,
to some extent, I'll say that because, I know so many people who are from here originally. They were in New York, just said, forget about it. And now the congestion pricing. Or the Kathy tax, as I call it. So a lot of people from New York moved here to Philadelphia. What happened in Philadelphia during the pandemic? Huge population loss. So is there housing in Philadelphia, and especially if you look at apartment living, condo living in the city? Yes. There's availability. That's true in the city. It's better in the city than it is
right. Yeah, in the suburbs.
In the suburbs, or let's say, I was talking to friends during the Mummers Parade, right, at WFMZ in the Lehigh Valley. So when people who work in those TV markets, let's say, can't find, it's ridiculous. You can't find housing.
Yeah.
Even apartments you can't find.
Yeah.
And so it really does. Okay, so I will say that in places like Philadelphia, we have a unique situation. We do. I can't even believe all the condos that have gone up. When I drive like Lincoln Drive, driving home, and then into Chestnut Hill, it's amazing that beautiful condos, but these condos are starting at like $500,000. So if we want to talk about affordable housing for working people, middle-class people, I don't think they're looking at $1 million condo. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just not affordable for most people. And so where is that affordable housing? Part of this is the demand for housing. Why? Well, empty nesters are not selling their house because there's nowhere to go. And so we've disrupted and interrupted the natural flow of things.
Yeah.
Everybody's fixing up their house and they're staying in their house. Now, Dan, what if your parents said to you and Maisie, well, why don't you guys just save up and move in with us? Because they're like empty nesters.
Yeah, no.
We tried that. I tried
Did
that.
you really?
I did.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
With
Stacia and her husband.
Yeah.
When they were like I was like, you guys, we have this big house. I mean, Michael and David, you know what I mean? Because the four kids and us, we were there. So I'm like, you guys, we'll make a whole section for you guys.
Yep.
This was before they had kids. Even when they had the first baby, they were in a condo. And they're like, no thanks.
Got out of that situation pretty quick. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We've had enough of the crying. Yeah. And to the caller's point, I do think he's somewhat right. Like he said that there's not a housing shortage. It's really based on the people moving in and the supply and demand. And as you have more people moving towards Philadelphia area, you're going to have obviously less supply. That makes sense, but I think we're also ignoring the fact that there's a lot of corporate influence today, a lot of corporate buying. There's the push to become a rental society that I do think there's truth behind that. I see a lot. It's fascinating to me that the skyrocketing inflation in housing prices corresponds with out of control immigration situation. So I wonder if it's not just coming to the area, but coming into the country, and that's why we're seeing such skyrocketing real estate prices. We might have to bring on an expert to explore this sometime.
Yeah, I was talking to a builder in Pennsylvania who's a pretty, a very successful builder. And he and his wife's an attorney, which is very helpful. But what they were talking about in places like Pennsylvania. So you think about California, which is through the roof with the restrictions, right? Here in Pennsylvania, I don't know if they would come on. It would be great if his wife, who's the attorney, would come on. But I won't. You don't have to give your name if you don't want to. But the restrictive zoning practices, and especially here in Pennsylvania, and then what that means is that it costs so much more, but also it delays the process because they have to go through jumping through these hoops. And that's another reason people move south, because they could find housing where those restrictions are not so overbearing, those zoning regulations, and it gets ridiculous. I mean, you and I could agree there are some reasons you want to, of course, have zoning restrictions and regulations, but not to the point that you're strangling the housing industry and forcing the builders to pay tens of thousands of dollars more just for the permitting process, etc. Who are they going to pass that along to? You, when you buy a house. So Democrats at work, they're the ones who do this. It's supersized in California, but here in Pennsylvania as well. All right, the doctor is going to be in the house, so I got to take a quick break. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Need new doors and windows, but not high-pressure sales tactics?
If so, give Emmons a call today. At Emmons, we provide top-notch installation service with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction with brands like Anderson and Provia Windows and Doors.
And you can upgrade your home today with our energy-efficient options, which help save you money.
Call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
To inside and out.
at Emmons, we have you covered.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
20 warming centers remain open in the city with the sub-freezing temperatures this week. The man accused of killing hockey star Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew has pleaded not guilty. And Philadelphia animal control officials are warning pet owners about a scam targeting people with missing pets.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details. Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Free speech in Philly on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
I am honored to have a top medical voice, top doc, Dr. Stephen Quay, whose life mission is preventing breast cancer, preventing millions of, 2 million a year. 2 million people every year are diagnosed with breast cancer, mostly women, but especially if it's hereditary. I do know every year for the breast cancer walk on Mother's Day, there's Sandy, if you're listening, there's a gentleman who breast cancer runs in his family. And so it affects men too, whether it's your wife, daughter, loved one, or whether it's you. It's an important piece of awareness. But we heard about this alcohol study, that now alcohol, the third leading preventable cause of cancer. And this is Dr. Stephen Quay's life work. We'll get into as well the fact that last summer he was a COVID hearing witness and talking about the overwhelming case for lab leak theories and also what else? What are the side effects possibly of the COVID vaccine? We'll get into all of that. But Dr. Stephen Quay, we're really honored to have you here this morning. Thanks for coming on and really making us aware of some of these important health and medical issues.
It's great to be with you, Dawn, this morning. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I'll start with breast cancer. It runs in my family on my mom's side. My great-great-grandmother, survivor, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, who had a mastectomy, and my mom just had lumpectomies because of the awareness factor. And that's really the beginning, I think, in families to just talk about it, because a lot of families don't talk about the health history.
It is. It really is important. I mean, there's two things I want to emphasize. What you just said is, going back 3 or 4 or 5 generations, you can start to see patterns in your family. But when a woman gets breast cancer, only 1 out of 12 have a family history. The other 11, they're the first in their family. So this disease is really tricky.
Yeah, and I'll say with my grandmothers and even my mom, not big drinkers or drinkers at all. So as far as the alcohol study, that was surprising to me. I mean, not that, of course, everything in moderation, that's the old saying, But in this one, how concerned should individuals, should people just say, meh, it's not worth it? Why would I even have an occasional glass of wine?
Yeah, so it's complicated, and I think because it's so important as part of our social fabric, I think it's important to understand it. So alcohol does increase breast cancer about 10 to 15%, if whatever your background rate would be, but it also can help with heart disease, and of course, actually. Cardiovascular disease kills more women than breast cancer does. So there is a balance there. This report was strictly on alcohol and cancer. If I had been writing it myself, I probably would have done what happened a few weeks earlier where the National Academy of Science did alcohol and all health. And that one said, yes, it's associated with increased cancer, but it's also associated with decreased cardiovascular disease to give you a more balanced picture. So it is complicated, but if we want to stick with just breast cancer, alcohol, 2 drinks a day is going to 100 women taking 2 drinks a day, 4 of them are going to have breast cancer that they wouldn't have had it in their lifetime if they had not drunk. So it's 4 out of 100. That's your risk.
Yeah, and that's 2 drinks a day. To me, that's not moderate. You know what I mean? Like 2 drinks a day, 7 days a week. To me, that's a lot. That's not just, let's have a glass of wine on a Friday night, go out to dinner.
You're right. And of course, all the people that are writing these investigators are probably also social or some level of drinkers. So you have to, there's a what's called a bias, an inherent bias in some of these studies.
That's well put. Dr. Quay, I should ask you about Atossa Therapeutics, globally recognized for revolutionizing breast cancer prevention. For those who have not heard of Atossa Therapeutics, am I pronouncing it correctly? Atossa?
Yeah, pretty close. Princess Atossa was the first woman with breast cancer in recorded history, about 400 years before Christ, 400 BC. And her slave cauterized it. It didn't do very well, but we're honoring her and all the women since her who've had breast cancer.
I love it. And so that's, a therapeutics company that's recognized for, really, when you say revolutionizing breast cancer prevention, can you just give me an example of how Atossa has revolutionized?
So we're in the clinical trial phase, so we're not FDA approved. But so when a woman gets a mammogram, in the past they were looking for just one thing, and now they're looking for 2 things. In the past, they were looking for what are like little grains of salt, which are actually cancers that have died, and then you want to biopsy it and go out. And so that's its primary purpose. But then over 2 or 3 decades, we realized that the background whiteness of the breast, called the density, so a very fatty breast is black on an X-ray, and then a very fibrous breast is white. So there's a gradation, and there were 5 to 8 times more cancer, so 500 to 800% more cancers in the dense breasts than in the not dense breasts. So I invented a drug that actually lowers the density, and we reported at a major meeting in December. With just a drug that has the same side effects as a sugar pill in the clinical trials, we were able to lower density at a level that in the past has reduced about half of breast cancers. So my vision for the future, FDA approval and additional work, is a woman doesn't think about her breast health until she's 40. She gets a mammogram. She doesn't have cancer, which is good news. She has high density, which is a little troublesome. So she would take our tablet for 6 months to a year. The density would go down. It would sort of reset the computer, so to speak. And we would prevent about half of the 250,000 cancers a year in the U.S., 2 million worldwide. So, that is my life's mission here at Atossa Therapeutics.
It's amazing. I was reading about the Evangeline study and Doxepin. So, you're doing some great things here. Is part of the reason that alcohol is an issue, if breast cancer is an endocrine, let's say, related disease, then you think of alcohol, which goes right to sugar in your system. Is that a piece of this?
Yeah, that's very smart, Don. Very smart. So the 2 pieces for alcohol and breast cancer are, number one, it does increase estrogen, And so increased estrogen then drives increased cancer. It also increases inflammation. Inflammation is a foundation for cancers of almost any organ. So those two pieces of it, more estrogen and then more inflammation. In fact, with respect to lifestyle, exercising, where you get a little more testosterone, lowering your estrogen, lowering your if you're a little overweight, the fatty tissue, tends to make estrogen. So anything you can do to lower your estrogen naturally is going to decrease your risk of breast cancer. And you can probably get about a 20% reduction from lifestyle changes. Eating better, not and getting some resistance training, so you're building muscle actually as a woman, and you're not going to get bulky if you're not taking testosterone. So those things can be done without reverting to pharmaceuticals.
And Dr. Quay, I wanted to get to the fact that, you were a witness, an expert witness at that COVID hearing, what was that, last summer, and talking about COVID, the lab leak theory that we've heard a whole lot about, your testimony there, but as well your take on even the NIH study, which says that there needs to be more study done on COVID and its alleged or apparent link to COVID, those who are vaccinated with the mRNA, and then a possible link to things like Alzheimer's or cognitive decline. I mean, that's very concerning.
Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot, obviously, with COVID, and one of the things that we learned that is problematic is there's a very simple process where the spike of the virus attaches to fibrin, which is the starting formation of a clot. So, we have to have blood clots so we don't bleed to death. So that's the good part of having blood clots. But if you have too many, you can have a stroke, you can have a heart attack. And so the diabolical aspect of this virus is that it binds to fibrin. So fibrin is a nice smooth protein, and your blood is flowing past it, nothing's happening. Suddenly there are these little balls that are all spiky stuck to it. The platelets in the blood say, oh my gosh, this isn't good, and they start sticking there. Long story short, you make microclots in the heart, in all the tissues, so the kidneys, every organ, in your eyes, in your brain. And so we now know that the foundation of getting what's, was long COVID, which is, cognitive fog and all sorts of other kinds of month-long processes, is this slow microclotting process, and it feeds on itself, and it's hard to shut off. So knowing that, we can begin to think about how you would treat it. But it certainly is something that, we've not seen before. It looks like it might be designed into the virus. There's some pretty diabolical things designed into this virus that are not good. It's quite serious.
Well, when you say that, my question is this: is it the virus? And I do want to get into the lab leak theory, that it's not, that it would appear, and we heard this early on, quite frankly, from medical voices, and perhaps you're one of them, who said, this really doesn't look like something that just happened naturally, and that goes to the lab leak theory. So I wanted to get into that, because then my next question is, there are people who say, well, is this then, dangerous for me or a greater risk to get a quote-unquote booster or the COVID mRNA vaccine, or are we talking about the virus itself? Do you know what I'm saying? In other words,
yeah, I do. And it does get complicated there. So we're at a point where, I just did an analysis tonight, just before this call here, where the WHO reports that we've had 1 billion people out of the 8 billion have been infected. But if you look at blood samples and see antibodies to the various parts of the protein that you have in an infection, it's 100%. So we've all had COVID. We all have some natural immunity to it. It's not as good as measles, where you get one shot and you're immune for your lifetime. But we are definitely at a point where there begins to be a trade-off between what might be more immunity from a vaccine or a booster, and the booster telling your body that this is part of you. So when there's a part of immunology which is treating allergies, and the way they do that is they give you small amounts of the allergy over a very long period of time to basically trick your body into thinking, hey, this must be part of me because I'm seeing this all the time. It started out looking different than me. It's a foreign protein, but now I'm seeing it all the time. And so there's an antibody change called IgG4, which tolerates proteins. So when you have allergies to things, the doctor will teach your immune system to tolerate that allergen, and that's great for hay fever and things like that. It's not good if your vaccine is teaching you to tolerate a virus. And so we are definitely in the zone above three shots where you have more IgG4 than you do of the standard one, and you're basically making yourself less able to fight it. I'm not practicing medicine on your radio station. This is really important. So before you get a booster, tell your doctor about the IgG4, make him measure it, and if you have it, then the two of you have to look at each other and say, you're at a point now where everything I do to you with a vaccine is making you tolerate this virus more. Maybe we should just back off and, take another path.
Well, and that explains why, because I was, to go back to work, and we were in, I'm broadcasting live from Philadelphia. So here in Pennsylvania, we had, and in Philadelphia in particular, we had among the strictest, the toughest restrictions in the nation, and lasted a long time. So we actually had the convention center. I went down. The National Guard was this big guy, gives me the jab. I got the mRNA, that I was Pfizered, as we say, but I did not get the booster. What I noticed was that relatives and friends and colleagues who've gotten every booster, every opportunity, they seem to be sick all the time. And even when they get COVID, because it just went through my house again over the Christmas break, I had it, but it was mild. Whereas my colleagues and friends and family who've been boosted they have it worse. Is that part of the
ready to put your name on a diploma there, on a medical diploma?
Not at all. Armchair, But I mean, that I guess with what you're saying, this is finally we get a medical explanation for why we're observing this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. You're building tolerance through what's called a class shift from good IgGs to IgG number 4, which is the tolerance antibody.
And so for you, as far as this lab leak theory, is there, in your professional and medical opinion, and something I know you testified to, where do you lean on that as far as whether or not this was man-made, whether it got a little help to create this dirty little nasty little COVID virus?
So, I have tried to treat this as if it was in a court of law and making sure the evidence is very solid because any conclusion I come to, if I'm speaking in the Senate, it can have implications it can have massive implications. And so the three levels in a court are 51% if you're fighting over money, so preponderance of the evidence, you got to have 51% more than the other person. If the state wants to take your children away from you, they got to get the clear and convincing, which is 75% evidence. And then the criminal is 95 or above. So we let people not become guilty if, there's a 6% chance they didn't do it or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so using those criteria and then walking through the 26 different things that you can look at with this virus, you get well above 97%. So this virus came from a laboratory, so it didn't come from nature, it came from a laboratory. That's point number one at 97%. Number two is, was it a natural virus in the laboratory or was it manipulated? Again, 95% that it was manipulated. And then the aspects of it that are manipulated for malevolent reasons, like turning off the immune system and making it asymptomatic, is between 60 and 70%. So it came from a laboratory, it was manipulated in a laboratory, and it seems to have features that would not be academic research that I would do when I was teaching at Stanford, for example, with viruses in a lab, but have more sinister properties. And part of that is, Doctor, and that's my question, is that my fear is that in essence with COVID, and you I think alluded to this, is that it's almost like the virus
depending on who you are and your makeup and all of that, it's like maybe a ticking, I don't want to say a ticking time bomb, but something that could be activated at some point. And have we not yet seen the full effects of the virus within each of us?
Dawn, again, you are spot on. There is a 4 to 5% phenomena with this virus, where we all sort of, in my daughter's school, there's a 44-year-old business guy, reasonable health, and he's killed by the virus. So there's 4 to 5% of cases which are just, to me, totally unexplainable. I struggle to find a foundation for these weird cases of extreme harm by this virus and people that it shouldn't do. The athletes that are dropping dead in their 20s and that sort of thing. So that's still left on the table for me to figure out. But the rest of it, it's a relatively benign virus if you're not old or have comorbidities. So for people under 50 without any other problems, it's under 1% in terms of 1% will die with it. And then between 50, then it goes up. And then if you start having other, cancers or immune problems, it goes up from there and that sort of thing. But even in that under 50, I'll give you an example. The 44-year-old father of the child at my daughter's school, he shouldn't have died. But so there is that aspect. If I find out, I will let the world know. It's I have these Post-its above my desk of things I don't understand about this virus, and there used to be 100, and there are now about 15. So it's one of the 15.
If I'm confessing, Dr. Quay, it's that I've spent way too much time at hospitals, including Children's Hospital Philadelphia, during the pandemic, and this was before the vaccine was available. My healthy teenage son, fit, healthy, worked out 6 days a week, did crew, all of that. Suddenly, with zero family history, took him to the ER. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He's been part of studies. I'm talking to all of these endocrinologists all the time. As recently as last week, I'll be back again this Thursday. And they were, talking about this. And they see this huge spike in something that was rare, type 1 diabetes, diseases like that, autoimmune diseases, that they've seen this spike that they've not seen, and not just in America, worldwide.
Yeah, that's true. It's very unfortunately true that both autoimmune diseases in general, and myocarditis is certainly well talked about issue with, especially again with the teenage and young men for some reason. It's very unfortunate. It's very amazing.
Well, I just pray for answers and people like you who are transparent with it. And like you said, Dr. Quay, it's all about just making those risk-reward informed choices and so on, talking to just being educated. So thank you, Dr. Stephen Quay. I hope you come back, just a brilliant medical mind and somebody who, focuses on keeping us healthy and keeping us informed. Thank you, Doctor.
I would love to. We love Philadelphia. My daughter just graduated from the law school there, so we're happy. City of love.
Congrats, Doc.
Where can you say where she graduated? Was it Temple?
She's at UPenn. She was at UPenn, and now she's in New York City and starting her law career. So very exciting.
Penn Cary's a great school.
A doctor and a lawyer in the family. You're set. Thank you, Dr. Quay.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Oh, you too. Thanks, Dan, for setting him up. I hope he comes back. Maybe if he's, if they love Philadelphia, maybe in person sometime. Wouldn't that be nice? We have Linda Kearns will be in the house in about 5 minutes, so we'll get to Linda, Elvis, election integrity.
Before we go, Chris E., who you're familiar with over on YouTube, Twitter, didn't know this, but he said his 21-year-old daughter also diagnosed with type 1 last April. He, too, has heard from doctors multiple times about the same spike since COVID.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's a nasty virus, and in some people, the way it manifests, it's not normal, it's not natural. And the numbers of some of these, and it's not just T1D, it's autoimmune diseases that used to be quite rare. Suddenly, why are they becoming, not as rare? We'll continue to unlock these mysteries, but it is disturbing. And if it struck you as it struck my family, I just am praying about it every day. So Dr. Quay, in answer to all of our prayers. Linda Kearns will be up ahead And we got to talk about our friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, featuring the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands: Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. These models have sleek new designs as well as innovative features powered by the very latest in technology. And Piazza right now has thousands of these new and certified pre-owned vehicles that are available across their Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey dealerships. There is power within Piazza, and the Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com, Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time: gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. Each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
It's Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Westchester University and Pittman, New Jersey in February.
Alan Iverson, Joel and Bean. My dad set this up. This was actually a Christmas gift to bring us all together, come see Joe and relive all the Philadelphia history. It's amazing.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm and the story of Philly sports through music. Westchester University on February 21st and the Broadway Theater in Pittman, New Jersey on February 22nd. Tickets to a Conklin show make great holiday gifts. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Win big this holiday season with CNC Heating and Air Conditioning's Win-Win Deal, offering the best HVAC value on new installs to keep your home warm. Save thousands instantly with no equipment markups, extended 10-year warranty, rebates, and tax credits. Plus, CNC makes budgeting for your new system easy with 0% financing options. Schedule an estimate today with CNC Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York-certified comfort experts, and start saving today. Visit cc-hvac.com. Offers only for new installations through January 31st.
You want to show that special person in your life how much you care? Then start the new year off with the 5 C's from Cozy Jewelers. I'm talking about color, cut, clarity, carat, and of course, the Cozy Touch. Our diamonds showcase vibrant color, precision cut, unparalleled clarity, and a carat that captures hearts. All of that adds up to an unforgettable gift, and that is the Cozy Touch. So for any special occasion, there is only one place to shop: Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square, or online at cozyjewelers.com.
It's go time for your fitness. The Newtown Athletic Club, or NAC, in Bucks County invites you and your family to check out the globally recognized top lifestyle club with the finest amenities, programs, coaches, and equipment to give you all the tools needed to enhance your overall health and wellness in one membership. The NAC offers a variety of family-friendly gym memberships to accommodate each stage of your life, from youth to active aging, young families to empty nesters, and ask about Escape Resort. Schedule a visit. Go to newtownathletic.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
Hey, navigation, take me to TurnersvilleJeep.com.
For January only, TurnersvilleJeep.com is offering 0% APR for up to 72 months on select models. TurnersvilleJeep.com is home to over 200 new Jeeps and Rams in stock and ready for immediate delivery. TurnersvilleJeep.com is also offering discounts up to 20% off MSRP on select models. Online 24/7 at TurnersvilleJeep.com.
2024 Charger Daytona RT, VIN number RR206699. MSRP $70,970. 0% for 72 months equals $13.89 per thousand. Financed through SFS. On approved credit, not all customers may qualify. Offer ends 1/31/2025.
Looking for the confidence to walk away from the 9 to 5? Find out how with Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212. Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue? Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Lord Almighty, I feel my temperature rising. Higher, higher, it's burning through to my soul. Girl, 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 you gonna set me on fire. My brain is flaming, I don't know which way to go.
So Dawn, did Greg play Elvis in the morning just
They
to
played
make
a little
that,
bit.
just to make the comment though?
Yeah.
The negative comments about Elvis on his birthday?
Right? Happy birthday in heaven, Elvis. Here to help us celebrate, among other things, our friend Linda Kearns. I'm going to say the best election integrity attorney in America. Happy New Year, Linda.
Happy New Year, Dawn. And it's always the best way to start a year when you're emceeing the Mummers Parade. So I will say that we in Philadelphia are very lucky for that. But right now, I mean, not to kind of perpetuate the fact that I think people are starting to think I'm a real nut, but if you go on Graceland.com, there's a Graceland cam that they have 24 hours a day so I can watch people, the tourists going into
Are
Graceland.
you actually doing that right now, Linda?
I am
come on.
doing that. I know. I do fear I'm starting to sound like a nut, and I know that the good people of Pennsylvania depend on me to make our elections safe, and I worry that they might think she's kind of gone over the edge.
Yeah, but you're talking to an entire crew that if they could like have any kind of live cam on any of Bruce Springsteen's clubs, you know they'd be tuned into it. So
That's right. That's true.
Plus, I think
Dawn, did you enjoy the cupcakes this morning?
Thank you very much. I'm being good. So I just had a Phil Almquist was.
They're so good.
I know. They looked amazing, and they are mini, so they're probably, but they looked amazing. But
Thanks for sending them.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just
they were
said
devoured.
Greg couldn't have any because he's just not nice to Elvis, so he can't enjoy Elvis' birthday cupcakes.
Before we move off Elvis, I did give Lynn an assignment. I don't know if I told you, Dawn, but I asked Linda to prepare 3 facts that the audience might not know about the Great One. Did you happen to do that, Linda, or did you fail me?
And have I ever failed you? Come on.
Never.
No, one of the reasons that I really am fascinated by Elvis, besides just liking his music, and I think what a lot of people might not know, is when he died, he had almost no money, like just a few $1 million. And really because his manager had sold off his music in the 70s.
Is it true that did he die on the toilet, or is that just a rumor?
Well, let's focus on what I'm talking about here. Or you're not getting any cupcakes. So artists make money from their music, and his manager had sold his music. And when you sell the rights to your music, the only way you can make money is by touring. So, and obviously once he died, he couldn't tour anymore. And the really only asset that he had left was a little bit of cash and the house, Graceland. And his ex-wife Priscilla, who I think was barely 30 or wasn't even 30 yet, said to herself, wow, like I have a small child. She's only 9. Do I just take the money and put it in the bank and invest it? What do I do? And she actually decided to make Graceland a tourist attraction, and it was a risky move, but they made all their money back, like in the first few months, any money that they had spent to open it. And that went well for a while. And then she looked around and realized all up and down the street where Graceland was, people were selling things with Elvis's name on it. And I have a lot of those things in my own home, the blankets, the mugs, all the tchotchkes. And she realized that all of these other people were making money from the Elvis Presley image. And at the time, that did not have any value. You could not leave that image to your children. And she actually, with the help of her attorneys, lobbied the Tennessee legislature for something called rights of descendability, which meant that when you die, you can leave the rights to your image to your heirs. And that ultimately benefited a lot of estates, the Marilyn Monroe estate, James Dean, and actually Princess Diana, because she also did not have a lot of money when she died. So all of the charities could then benefit from her her image. So that's my big fact about Elvis and Graceland. And I think it's one that not a lot of people know. And I know that the story is kind of weird. He married Priscilla when she was so young, but, here she is without a college education. And she's the one who kind of built this into a $100 million empire. And I really admire that.
I know that Trump has said that he was at an Elvis concert. I don't know. Did he meet him? That was a premise, I think, in one of the Elvis documentaries that was more recent, like within the past 5-10 years. But I wonder, because it doesn't seem like Trump is an Elvis fan.
I mean, he's the right age, and so I wouldn't have been surprised if he had gone to an Elvis concert. I was alive I think I was 10 when he died, but so I never did see an Elvis concert.
I think I have the audio.
So, really?
It's kind of low. Let me see.
I think he was asked about this. Perhaps.
To one of the most beloved artists and most enduring cultural icons that has ever lived, the king of rock and roll, the true king, and you have to say that, Elvis Aaron Presley.
When was that from?
After redefining music in the 50s and redefining cinema
it's actually
in the 60s.
First Medal of Freedom.
The king, as he was known by everybody. Crowds were enraptured by Elvis's electric performances and unbreakable bond with his fans. In fact, at the end of a performance, oftentimes the fans would go so wild. I was there once. The fans were ripping the place apart, screaming. They were going crazy. And they announced, Elvis has left the house. Elvis, if they didn't say that, I think I'd still be there. Maybe.
That was his first Medal of Freedom ceremony.
He sounds like a fan in 2018. Now I see it.
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe that's why Trump hired me. He knew I was an Elvis fan. Maybe it's not for my election knowledge.
Can you confirm whether this is true for you too, Linda?
I don't work on January the 8th because that's Elvis's birthday.
Well, here I am at my office working.
Yes,
so
there it
no,
is.
unfortunately, I'm just a working stiff. So yes, I do have to work on Elvis's birthday. But I'm so thrilled that you all celebrated it, and the lovely Phil Almquist, that his tribute today was just amazing. So I
Linda,
really appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you, and thanks again for the cupcakes. You had written that, and I think it was the Delaware Valley Journal. This was, I think it was published right before Christmas Eve. And you said, all you want for Christmas is an honest conversation in Pennsylvania on the state of our elections. Would Santa or anybody else deliver? So did you get your Christmas wish? And I know you have, you have a new objective moving forth in 2025, but were your Christmas wishes granted?
No, Dawn, they weren't. But I have hope. And what I'm working on now is what a lot of people also don't realize, just like they might not have realized a lot about Elvis, is the people who work when you go to vote, the people who are signing you in and having you sign the book and checking your name and so forth. Those election board workers, we actually elect them in Pennsylvania, and a lot of people don't even realize that, because when you go to vote, you don't even know half the names on the ballot. But we elect those individuals, and we actually elect them in the odd year after the presidential election. So here we are in 2025, and we're going to elect all of our election board workers. They're your neighbors who live in your election division, in your precinct, and you have to run to get on the ballot. To be a judge of elections, you need 10 signatures. To be an inspector, you need 5. But what I'm working on now is we had so much enthusiasm during 2024, thanks in large part to your radio station that really allowed me to really get the word out. But we had such enthusiasm. I want to continue that. So I am encouraging people to run for their election boards so that in 2028, we don't have to reinvent the wheel and recruit people and try to get them appointed. We want them to be involved in their elections now so that by the time 2028 rolls around, they will have had 4 years of elections under their belt. They'll know how things work. We'll have a really, professional Republican staff, as it were, in all of those election districts. So we're working on that now, getting the word out, finding out, who's interested, helping them get on the ballot. The signature period opens on February 18th. So I have a little bit of time. Right now, we're just getting staff together and so forth. But to me, that's what elections are all about. It's every year. It's every day. It's not just come in on a presidential election year. And I really am so grateful to Chairman Whatley, who's often on your show, because he has this vision that election integrity is something that you just constantly have to do. You don't just disappear every time, you win an election. You just keep going and looking forward.
It's really high maintenance. That's what it's about. And so I would say this, I think about that, what if Linda Kearns or Michael Whatley and the election integrity concept that then you put into a plan and making sure that people were educated, aware, you saying repeatedly on our air to people to, stay in line, know your rights. What about the people with the badges that shouldn't have been? What about situations that happened that shouldn't have happened? And so that, to me, Linda, is significant. It's important to look back on the past election and think about the fact that people were so aware. And it wasn't just the voter turnout. It was the people. There were things that were, no matter what we want to say about it, there were things that were happening that should not have been happening. And so you, as an attorney, you were fighting this in court. And it was a battle. You were at the front of the battlefield, if you will. You were at the front of the battle, but for everyone, or who said, I'm going to come back because now you're saying we have to go home, whatever. And so that to me is something that we have to learn from and understand that maybe this has been going on a long time, but people just thought, oh, well, that's the way it is. And, oh, geez, I left the line and, oh, well, just vote next time.
Right. And I want to keep that enthusiasm in as much as I can. I want to keep it going. And we do have elections every year in Pennsylvania. We have 2 elections. We have a primary and a general. This year we're electing judges. We are electing a district attorney here in Philadelphia. These are called municipal elections this year. And sometimes these elections affect your day-to-day life way more than who's in the White House, yet we don't get as much participation. So I'm a big person on just getting back to the basics, and I feel like if we recruit people to get interested in these election boards, to work the elections, that will start that enthusiasm, and hopefully we'll get more participation. Because imagine, Dawn, if the number of Republicans who voted in the presidential election showed up every year, we would be winning all of these races all across the state. So I'm really trying to keep that enthusiasm going and just reminding people that you need to show up in every election. I do. I vote in every election, and I live in Philadelphia, and I certainly sometimes feel my vote doesn't count because I don't think I've ever voted for a district attorney that won, or, I mean, come on, I vote Republican. But I think it's still important to show up and exercise that right, and that's what I'm trying to do with the RNC.
A couple of, I just wanted to ask you if there are updates, because there were so many battles and so many fronts across Pennsylvania that you were dealing with on different levels. But then as well as this issue of, and it wasn't as much in Pennsylvania, there were other states, but this issue where, somebody can be a registered voter and they were found to be registered to a shelter or to a restaurant, a place of business, and they were sort of questionable. There were those, types of questions. But then the issue of the fact that for citizenship in Pennsylvania, yes, you must be a citizen. Some people say, well, it's basically your honor code. And so there's a little wiggle room, allegedly, for non-citizens to vote. On all of those issues, do you have any updates?
Well, in Pennsylvania, especially, some lawyers call the Pennsylvania election code the gift that keeps on giving because it needs to be updated. There are so many holes in it, the way that it's written. We really need to update it. And obviously, to update it, we're going to need a really strong legislature to propose it and write a really good election code and then have a governor who passes it. So obviously, there have been no changes to the laws, certainly since November, but it seems like people are much more aware of it. I know, President Trump certainly talks about elections. There's only so much the federal government can do. And frankly, there's only so much we want the federal government to do because we do want most of the election decisions left to the state. I'm hopeful here in Pennsylvania. We do have a new legislature. They were just sworn in, I think, last week or maybe earlier this week. And it looks like we're getting a new chairman for the state GOP. We're going to have that election. And I'm really hoping that there's going to be a focus on all of these issues. And we need to tighten up our laws so that if citizens can't get on the voter rolls, and that we need to tighten up any loopholes. I actually have a case that's actually in the Third Circuit of the federal courts here in this region of the country. It started in the Middle District of Pennsylvania as a federal case with my client, the Public Interest Legal Foundation, and it was about non-citizens on the voter rolls. And we're winning, but the Commonwealth keeps appealing, so we're waiting for the Third Circuit to rule on that. So that case has been going on for years. So some of these things do take a long time to kind of wade through, but I am really, really hopeful that we are going in the right direction now.
That's crazy. I've just looked that up. That was back from 2017, that case? Is that right?
It's Public Interest Legal Foundation. Yeah. You can go to our website and we keep updates on that. So, but we're waiting for the Third Circuit to rule on that. And Dawn, believe it or not, there are still fights over whether or not you have to date a mail ballot. I mean, it was resolved to get us through this past election, but some of those cases are still ongoing, and we're still fighting.
It's crazy. As far as I wanted to ask you about Real ID, because that was put off in Pennsylvania because of COVID. Now the new deadline is early this year in May. And I looked up the requirements for that you do have to show, prove that you're a citizen or have a passport, social security card. Do you think the Real ID, the fact that you have Real ID, and maybe if they tie the new legislation to something like that, could that help as far as making sure that people are who they say they are and that they're a citizen getting registered to vote, at least here in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, anything that proves that you're a citizen is certainly going to help. But I hate to be a Debbie Downer here for the listeners, but nothing is going to happen quickly because what I can pretty much guarantee is there are going to be a lot of lawsuits because, especially with older people, they're going to say, well, I don't know where my birth certificate is, and I don't have it, or I never got a passport, and then so there's going to be all sorts of lawsuits that says we're infringing on people's rights. So I think that this is going to be something that is going to take a while to sort through, but I like that we're having the conversation and we're talking about it and people realizing that it's an issue. So that is what I'm hopeful for, that we'll continue to address that. But, the reality is, some older people, if you say to them, okay, prove to me you're a citizen, they might not be able to do it, or it might take some time. And remember, we did have a voter ID law on the books, and as soon as it was passed, some interest groups sued and said all of these people couldn't get driver's license. They lived too far from the DMV, or they couldn't find their birth certificate, or whatever the case may be. And so that's why we don't currently have voter ID in Pennsylvania. But we need a brave, strong legislature to really write a really good law, and one that's not conflicting, one that doesn't have a lot of loopholes in it. And then obviously we're going to need a Republican governor to sign it. So there's a lot of steps to this process. So I'm starting, very basic. Let's get some people involved. Let's make sure people, show up for elections. Let's make sure we have our people in all of these election districts. And I think that that's a great first step.
So are you looking for a few new recruits?
Yep, we're working on it. Yeah, so we actually just started this, and I'm actually on the inaugural committee. I'm one of the lawyers for that too, so we have to kind of get that tied up. That isn't necessarily as exciting as it sounds because it's really just reviewing contracts. I'm certainly not one of the party planners, but so I'm working on that now. But yeah, just like we recruited people last year to work as poll watchers, what we're trying to do is find anyone who's interested to actually be a poll worker. That means that you would run for it. You need signatures to get on the ballot in your district. And then you show up and you work every election in the spring and in the fall. And then imagine that by the time 2028 rolls around, we'll have all of these Republicans who are really invested in elections. They know what's going on in their local precincts. And that's going to make us a lot stronger.
So where are you? Where are you January 20th? Are you in? Because we're going to be with.
I'm with you guys.
Okay, that's what was my question. I thought so, but I was like, wait a minute, because I wasn't sure if you were going to be with the president.
Yeah. So right. So I mean, come on. I mean, let's see. I know I won Pennsylvania, but I don't think I'm going to be up on the stage or anything. At the
you should be, quite frankly.
No, I went to the inauguration in 2016. It was a great experience. This year we are having a big lunch the day before to celebrate all the lawyers with the Republican National Lawyers Association, and then I'm going to come back to Philadelphia. And then Dan invited me to come on the Dom Show, and maybe I'll be on your show a little bit. And I'm really excited about that because the first thing I thought was, oh my heavens, I'm going to have a whole captive room of people who are really interested in elections and conservative causes, and I'm going to bring hopefully one of my staff and start signing people up to get them interested. So I'm not going to let that opportunity go to waste.
That's a great idea. So January 20th, Newtown Athletic Club, Jim Worthington's club, the NAC, the NAC. It'll be a lot of fun that day. My goal is I want Linda Kearns to get a standing ovation. You deserve it. For sure.
Oh, Dawn, I appreciate that. But I had such an amazing team, my colleagues, each and every one of them. And, one thing that I noticed, and maybe it's because these young people were conservatives, but the people in their 20s who we'd recruited who were on our staff, they were just such amazing workers. And I know sometimes people in that age group might get kind of like a bum rap, but that certainly wasn't the case for the people we had on staff at the RNC. And I just worked with such amazing people. The attorney I had hired to help me with Philadelphia, Joe DeFelice, he put his all into it. Everyone really just really stepped up to the plate, and I think it was because it was under the leadership of Chairman Whatley. I really think that having him at the head of our party, he really inspired all of us. So it was really a team effort in Pennsylvania.
Well, Linda Kearns, I can't wait to see you on the 20th. That'll be a lot of fun. One more reason to join us on I mean, I can't wait for January 20th for so many reasons. It feels like Trump is already president. He even had to remind the media that yesterday during his news conference. He said, I'm not president yet. You know that, right? Because people just forget that, no, he's not even in office technically until January 20th.
I know. It's everything that we've gone through. I heard you talking about COVID and the shots. I almost can't even believe when we went through all that. That just seems like such a nightmare. I really do feel like we're headed in the right direction. And even, I think you guys might have been talking about this morning how Mark Zuckerberg said, well, now we're going to prioritize free speech. And I thought, why did you ever think we shouldn't prioritize it? This is America. This is the best country in the world. That's one of the basic tenets of America. So I do think that the election of President Trump really brought out a lot of issues, and I think that people are realizing that we, as conservatives, we know how to run countries. We know how to run local governments, and I really hope to see really good things in our future for us and for our children too, because I really do not think we were headed in the right direction.
Agreed. Linda Kearns, you're the best. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you for helping me celebrate Elvis's birthday. I hope the listeners don't think I'm too much of a nut. Look, if I talked elections all day, every day, I think I would burn out. So I need to play my Elvis records. I need to look at the Graceland cam. I need to give, Dan something to make fun of me about. So that's what,
A little obsessive, but it's okay. It's part of why we love you, Linda.
I love it. I'm looking at it now. Graceland.
Yeah.
Thanks, Linda.
Happy birthday to the king.
Thank you, Linda.
Linda Kearns. And
I don't work on January the 8th because that's Elvis's birthday.
The great Linda Kearns. I love that she's an Elvis fan and that she's looking at Graceland. They have a live. They really do. She's not making this up. I checked it out. It's kind of a wide shot, though. But we all need that escape. You know what I mean? We need the escape. What's your escape? 855-839-1210 is the number to call. We will take do we have to take a break? Sooner rather than later? Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. I'll update you on all the news of the day, and we do have some developing stories, breaking news. I'll break it all down right around the corner.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
Weather sponsored by Newtown Athletic Club.
The Arctic air mass remains locked in across the region for the remainder of the week. It'll be partly sunny today, still windy, high around 32, but feeling much colder with the wind. A breezy night tonight, partly cloudy, low near 20 for the city, colder in the suburbs. Another windy day on Thursday, partly sunny with a high 32.
It's go time for your fitness at the Newtown Athletic Club, or NAC, in Bucks County. The NAC offers a variety of family-friendly gym memberships to accommodate each stage of your life, from youth to active aging, young families to empty nesters. Schedule a visit. Go to newtownathletic.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, over 3 million people called Morgan & Morgan in their time of need, and with over 1 million of those calls coming from previous clients, friends, and family.
My name is Jason Williams. It was a rainy day, and I'd got hit from behind by a lady that was doing somewhere over 100 miles an hour is what they were saying. I've never dealt with anything like this before. Everybody that I talked to kept saying the same name, which was Morgan & Morgan. I was on hold for maybe 15 seconds. When they come back and said, Jason, we will absolutely take your case. As a non-tech savvy guy, any question that I had, if I called, text, or emailed, they got right back to me. They made it as easy for me as it could have been.
Thank you for trusting us. We've become the largest injury firm in the world because we've won a lot. The word is out. Size matters. Reputation matters. We're America's largest injury law firm for a reason. With over 900 dedicated attorneys and climbing, we're ready wherever you are, whatever you need. The choice is easy. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. Morgan & Morgan, official partner of the Philadelphia 76ers.
I'm Jalen Hurst here for Window Nation. If you're a fan of saving money, listen up.
Right now, get 50% off all window styles. Plus, you could get 0 interest and 0 payments for 2 years. Sale ends January 31st, so schedule your consult now at 866-90NATION or at windownation.com. Tell them you heard it on WPHT.
Don't pay more than you have to for new windows. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com.
PNC Private Bank knows that anything can happen on the gridiron, and being prepared goes a long way. It's not so different with your wealth. Whether you are looking to grow it over time, planning business succession, or integrate charitable giving, having a dedicated local team of specialized advisors who take a calculated, disciplined approach to managing your wealth leads to a lot of wins. The PNC Private Bank team knows that just like in football, that kind of preparation is good for your financial game. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. You may know me from my book, Money Hacks. You may know me from my radio shows, and you may even know me from some of these commercials. But listen, I'm teaching stuff that people need to learn about money. In fact, my favorite topic is money. So go to investorschooling.com and you will learn things about money that you never even knew existed. We will teach you things about real estate, about the stock market, and about how to use your IRAs properly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
It's Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Westchester University and Pittman, New Jersey in February.
It was fabulous. It was the most joyful night I have experienced in a long time.
The Frank Sinatra guy, I really liked him.
His imitation of the Bee Gees.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm and the story of Philly sports through music. Westchester University on February 21st and the Broadway Theater in Pittman, New Jersey on February 22nd. Tickets to a Conklin show make great holiday gifts. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business, with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Start the new year by making a statement in your home with beautiful, high-quality furniture from Bucks County Estate Traders. Each one of their 16,000 pieces is meticulously cared for and inspected before being displayed. Many pieces are even reupholstered by their talented team of craftsmen. You can furnish every room in your home with one trip to Bucks County Estate Traders. Their team of knowledgeable professionals provides a relaxed and rewarding experience. Visit BucksCountyEstateTraders.com or their showroom in Hatfield.
Big news, Cherry Hill! The Hester Chevrolet family is expanding with our new location, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill, formerly Mall Chevrolet. For over 40 years, the Hester Automotive family has been part of the Cherry Hill community. With over 600 vehicles available, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill now offers one of the largest inventories of Chevy vehicles in the tri-state area. See why 2 Hester Chevy locations are even better than one. Come visit Hester Chevy at the mall or always online at HesterChevyCH.com.
Your way or no way at Hester Chevrolet.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Well, these intense winds are unrelenting, and they continue. And it's making this firefight so impossible. We're on Temescal Canyon between Sunset and PCH, and there are structures burning in the hills. It's clear that it's just devastating, and the fire is ravaging. This whatever is vegetation, structure, anything in its path, and the winds are driving it. Greg, let's go over to that house that we just saw that just caught fire, or at least it appeared to have caught fire recently. And I can hear crackling. It sounds like small explosions up there in the hillside. That home does look like the fire is starting to engulf it. It's not clear firefighters are unable to get to it. There's just so much in this area. So many.
Right now, that's a live report from the Los Angeles area. As we do have breaking news at this point, tragically, hurricane force winds fueling these out-of-control fires, which have grown from 3 areas to now 5 different out-of-control fires that have tragically turned deadly this morning. Firefighters confirming that 2 residents were killed in the Eaton fire this is LA County, and the cause of their deaths is unknown at this time, according to LA County Fire Chief Anthony Marone, telling reporters during an update just this morning. And that update, as far as 2 dead, that's within the last 20 minutes or less. Eaton fire exploding to more than 2,000 acres with 0% containment, destroying more than 100 structures. And they say significant injuries reported in this fire, meaning the human cost. So we know that for these mandatory evacuations, they're saying that nothing is worth it. And this is an urgent plea for residents to leave now. We know that tens of thousands of people, as many as 80,000, have already been evacuated. But when I look at the map, when you think about Los Angeles, and then if you look at, let's say, Santa Monica, which is, if you've been to California and you've visited Santa Monica, so just west in West LA or west of Santa Monica, that you would see that's the Palisades fire. That's on the water, very wealthy, expensive area. Movie stars, executives live there. But then if you look a little further, in other words, outside Los Angeles, Pasadena, that's the Eaton fire that has turned deadly. And then above that is Santa Clara. That's the so-called Hearst fire. And so these are distinct areas surrounding Los Angeles that, when you think about hurricane force winds, these fires are coming, they're coming out of nowhere.
I do have the video of
oh my gosh,
people in their house with their dogs as the fire surrounds, and it's
this is disturbing. And this one has, received more than 1 million views.
Yeah, youtube.com/@12WPHT. Check it out. We're seeing them look around outside these big plate glass windows as flames just rage through
all the schools are closed.
Hi. Just be okay. You gonna be okay? Hi.
He's talking to the
you
dog.
Be okay.
Wow.
Oh shit.
The dog is kind of shaking.
Don't worry about that, dude.
We'll bring the audio down, but
yeah,
it is.
Well, your dog knows, and the fact that the dog is like trembling a little bit because the dog knows. When Buddy Boy was alive, and sadly he just had passed away in September, but even before a storm hit or something, they know. They can even detect cancer in people. So the dog knew that them, and some people critical of those who stayed. But, the thing about it is when you think about 100 mile an hour hurricane force winds, so for some people, they didn't think that they were even close to it. And boom, all of a sudden, you're in the middle of it. But to Dan's point, your description, Dan, is so good because a lot of these places, you think of Malibu, you think of Palisades, these very wealthy areas with incredible views. And so they're just surrounded by the glass, almost like a storefront, right?
Yeah, like you know how like when you think of those big California hills type mansions where they just have glass from floor to ceiling. Yeah, that's like what we're looking at here. And every window, and their entire house is surrounded by these, windows looking out into what I assume is a beautiful landscape, is just, it's straight up flame, orange bursts of, it's
my God,
very scary looking.
And so we truthfully, I don't know that we have an update because that had gotten all those views, but I don't know, we don't have the update on these individuals and their dog. Did they get out in time? Because when you look at, like Dan is saying, these, floor to ceiling, huge windows, walls of windows, and then the view right now, flames, smoke. So even if they left, and that's you hear the one guy say, don't open the door, don't open anything. They've turned off all their power. They've turned off the gas. They've turned everything off the circuit breaker. So at that point, they don't want to leave the house because they can't see anything. They can't drive. The roads are clogged with people who left their vehicles. I mean, this is like a movie as far as they're saying apocalyptic.
Allegedly, they were rescued, and they
Thank
are.
God.
Yeah.
But the winds so now reportedly, you're looking at the east-west arterial roadways running through the San Fernando Valley. But L.A. County, as far as the Palisades fire, that at 6 o'clock this morning, they said 3,000 acres. But then the other so-called smaller fires, Hearst Fire and Eaton Fire, those were at 500 acres or less. And so we're looking at now the Eaton Fire has grown to thousands of square miles on that one. And then the Hearst Fire, I don't have the latest number on that one. As far as the 15-acre Tyler fire, they called it, that's Riverside County, that they said they were able to contain that one 100%. Thank God. But the winds are fueling this thing. This is all it's unprecedented. It's unusual. State of emergency, federal money, and federal help. But it's, to me, I just think of the panic that's setting in now.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. I'm running some footage
into these neighborhoods
of a police
and they
officer
because people were trying to evacuate
saving
and they
a
just
mother
left
and
their
her child.
I don't know if that's complicating, but it has happened in the past.
The best way to describe it is it looks like a hellish landscape.
It does.
Flames all around, smoke, grayness.
And then when you think about the heat, so with this kind of fire, everything is so dry. They haven't had the rain and this intense heat. And so even when you watch, and it's sort of, I hate to say it, but it's almost hypnotizing when you watch it. You see the flames spread and then whoosh, it just looks like you'll see a structure and the next thing you see, it's being devoured. It is like hell on earth.
It is.
It's devastating.
Also, some audio from Rick Caruso, a very famous billionaire real estate developer. He called into LA's Fox 11 and expressed one of his biggest concerns of the whole thing. Take a watch.
My heart goes out, obviously, to the people with their homes, and I'm watching the small businesses around us go up in flames. This is people's livelihoods, so it's devastating. But what is most concerning to me is our first responders and our firefighters who are trying to battle this. There's no water in the Palisades. There's no water coming out of the fire hydrants. This is an absolute mismanagement by the city. It's not the firefighters' fault, but it's by the city. And I'm going to be very honest. We've got a mayor that's out of the country, and we've got a city that's burning, and there's no resources to put out fires. So if you look at your pictures, you don't see the firefighters there because there's nothing they can do. And it looks like we're in a third world country here.
See, my question, and that was my question early this morning, that there's a way to manage this, and especially when it first starts. But is this a case of mismanagement? And is this deserving of a bigger conversation as far as leadership, whether it's the mayor, you know what I'm saying, or whether it's the governor? But I'm from a family of firefighters. The first thing I look at, and they're talking about the Palisades running out of water, they're right on the ocean. They're on the Pacific Ocean, which is cold ocean water. Technically, even though ideally you don't want salt content, I understand that it's going to damage your equipment and all of that. But at this point, I would just think you need apparatus that can scoop up that water from the Pacific, from the ocean, and dump it. And that's really, to me personally, that's the answer here. They need to do that. The problem, of course, is that you have hurricane force winds. So the danger of that because the only way, I mean, I guess you could try to pump it, but then do you have that in place? Usually they do this with airdrops, but you have these high winds. So that's the problem there. Technically, they could do when I first looked it up this morning, and they said salt water could be toxic to the plant species and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah. Well, the plant species, that it's burned up. And so, and whatever equipment you have, I'd risk damaging it at this point. They need to pump it from the ocean. They need to pump it right into the city and utilize what you've got, which is the salt water. That's my.
Not only that, but the fact that we don't see them out there, I don't know. They're probably doing this, but here in Jersey, or when you watch wildfires in the past, they have those containment lines that they burn out. They send firefighters out themselves to essentially pre-burn in areas. So once the fire reaches that area, it kind of cuts it off there, so it can't spread further. Maybe it can't be done with the wind, and that's why they're not even trying it. Or are they trying it? I'd love to see what's being done in that situation, because if they don't have water, there are other ways to fight against the spread, at least, of the wildfire.
Yeah, Dan, I don't have an 855-839-1210 if any of you have thoughts on this, but do they have those ships is the Coast Guard involved? Is there an apparatus that by sea, in other words, these pumping stations, a ship, a boat, if you will, in the Pacific, in right there on the coast, in the water, and then do they have the ability to just pump the water through a piping system, let's say, and pump that water? To me, that's better than nothing at this point. They apparently they've run out of water. What's the backup plan?
Backburning is what I was referring to as the official name. I'm looking into whether it's going on.
The problem with the problem with all the controlled burn stuff and all of that is that now you have the flames jumping. You know what I mean? When you have a hurricane force wind, I think you're beyond that at this point, because the wind can blow it so far. And so at this point, now the back burn, you're done with that. But what they could do is pump in the ocean water, and I'd start soaking with water. Because you've got this heat, right? You've got to pump the water in the streets, pump the water where you can. That would be my remedy immediately to cool. So you have that cool Pacific Ocean water. So you want to cool things off. And then the next question is, are there clouds that you could seed? See, I don't know what the factor is with the wind. That's the problem here. Oh, my God. What a nightmare. 855-839-1210. What are we doing here? Do we have to take a break?
We got to go to break, yep.
We'll be right back.
Join us for the next Crash Proof Retirement educational event to witness documentation and learn how you can earn double-digit interest returns like many of our Crash Proof clients with none of the pitfalls of investing on the market.
Roseanne Fitzgerald, Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. With Crash Proof, we earn 20% interest, which is credited. What we've earned can never be taken away.
Marilyn Becker's, Malvern, Pennsylvania. The 13% and 20% returns we received this year gets added to the principal. There's no fees, and you can sleep at night. You can't get that on Wall Street.
Paul Wirtz. I'm from Philadelphia. I earned 24% this year. No matter what happens in the future this year or next year, I know that my principal is protected, my retirement is secure.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn, January 22nd, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535 or biglou.com.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Did you know this is the busiest season for plumbers? All the parties, tons of people eating at one house. That's when garbage disposals get treated like wood choppers and pipes get backed up like the airport at Thanksgiving. Blah. But don't worry. Horizon Services has the experts in same-day service to handle it all. Clogs, leaks, busted pipes. And right now you'll get $50 off any plumbing repair. Horizon will also give you up to $400 off any water heater installation. I mean, if you like hot showers. Book today at horizonservices.com.
Hey, navigation, take me to TurnersvilleJeep.com.
For January only, TurnersvilleJeep.com is offering 0% APR for up to 72 months on select models. TurnersvilleJeep.com is home to over 200 new Jeeps and Rams in stock and ready for immediate delivery. TurnersvilleJeep.com is also offering discounts up to 20% off MSRP on select models. Online 24/7 at TurnersvilleJeep.com.
2024 Charger Daytona RT, VIN number RR206699. MSRP $70,970, 0% for 72 months equals $13.89 per thousand. Financed through SFS. Unapproved credit. Not all customers may qualify. Offer ends 1/31/2025.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Do it today at 1210 WPHT.
So the breaking news just a few minutes ago. So the National Weather Service, including Los Angeles County, They're saying that it's an extremely critical fire danger, the highest category there, because these hurricane force winds have not yet peaked. So think about, obviously we're almost noon here in Philadelphia, but there, the early morning hours, as the morning grows into mid-morning, the winds will peak. They haven't even peaked yet, before gradually relaxing a little bit, but that won't be until late this afternoon. Bone dry conditions there, running out of water, and this is a real potential for deadly disaster. 2 confirmed dead, but the concern here with these growing winds throughout their morning there in LA County is that these hurricane force winds, gusts, are fanning the flames. And so what if this thing goes further into Los Angeles, where you have population of people that are still there? They need to evacuate Los Angeles. I mean, oh my God, yeah. This is so it's a breaking news situation. I know that they have the evacuation orders that continue on for thousands more, tens of thousands more, but we know that they've 80,000 residents already under those orders, and then 30,000 more as these hurricane force wind gusts just fan the California wildfires into a real crisis, a deadly crisis, and obviously dangerous for those brave firefighters who have yet to contain most of these fires. 5 different fires burning now. Oh my goodness. I hate to hear, yeah. I hate to see this. And the images are, it really, like you said, it's like hell on earth. It's horrible.
Not fun.
My God. So I know that many resources moving that way. Yes, we've had a theme this morning, and one of them is with our great Linda Kearns. Elvis, happy birthday, Elvis. Trump loves Elvis. Does Dom Giordano love Elvis?
A newfound love, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think he's the Mount Rushmore of entertainers. Michael Jackson, Sinatra, Elvis. I'm not sure of the other.
Bruce Springsteen?
There you go.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh, yes. No.
The early Springsteen. So, Dawn, we have attorney extraordinaire Philadelphia Roots, John Yoo, coming on because they've got the Trump sentencing on Friday. Plus, the Gitmo prisoners. John Yoo is the guy that wrote those enhanced techniques at Gitmo. We'll see what he says about them.
Oh, I can't wait. And what he thinks is going to happen with today's, the Supreme Court now taking this,
right.
Trump is going to the Supreme Court. Wow. So much breaking and developing. Stay right here. The Dom Giordano Show is right now.
It really was such a night. The night was alive.
There's no need to